All right, welcome back. It's your goddess Never Soul here. We are back with another episode. I am so excited. Um, I was gonna do another episode the other day, but I just felt like I was processing a lot. Not in a bad way or anything, but just this Mercury retrograde, these planetary alignments have kind of been a little crazy. In the most beautiful holistic way though, like I feel like we've been all doing a lot of major healing, so shout outs to everyone for making it this far. I know we kind of said that last time, but I gotta keep reminding y'all that y'all getting through things and y'all need to be congratulated for that. Um so yeah, on this episode we are going to talk about the 8 year and the dragon year. I was thinking a lot about what I should talk about today, and I had a lot of different things that came to mind. But I ended up deciding like the overall general message that I did have for you guys was honestly like based around this whole 8 year and this dragon year, which I feel has been very interesting. Very, very interesting. So, if you do not know, 2024 is a dragon year on the Chinese calendar, which is really huge. Dragons are very mystical beings. They are very knowledgeable. They are very ancient. They they carry a very big role when it comes to esoteric knowledge, wisdom, and carrying forth that information, especially with us on this human spectrum being, reptilian brain and stuff like that. So they do play a very large role in our existence and how we carry forth information, knowledge, and the spiritual experience, this human experience. They they have been with us for a very long time, and I feel like there's this big misconception of them being completely gone. Where, well, sidebar, I do think that they still exist on this planet, just maybe not in the ways that we understand, or maybe even in parts of the world that we don't know, because we're not everywhere all the time. Second, a lot of these dragons are also very beautiful spiritual beings, so they also coexist with us on the spiritual plane. So in that aspect as well, that is also another way that they're still currently with us. um And I have worked with dragons for a very long time, and they speak in riddles, which I kind of really love because I feel like with a lot of other spiritual guides, they are usually very direct with us. But I really love dragons because they do give not such a straightforward. Ooh, hold on, guys. I don't know what happened to my camera. All right, I'm not too sure what happened there. But yeah, I've worked a lot with dragons, and they have always been like these very wisdomatic, very beautiful beings that talk to us in riddles, which I really love because that means that you get so much more downloads from it, because you can interpret whatever they say in many different ways. Um, and with that, they have a lot of other very beautiful spiritual messages and meanings for what they are and what they represent, which again, I feel like it deals with a lot of ancient energy. So that's the one of the main things that I really love about the dragon energy. Like, they typically come in your life to remind you of past lives, remind you of your Akashic records, remind you of aspects of you that you can master. Like, they're such a beautiful representation, and they're very big on truth, authenticity, and bypassing the hardships and really making sense and really making a big importance to living a spiritual life where you're growing, you're healing, you're ascending, you're making it do what it do, right? They're very big on that. Like, they will help you through a lot of things because they want to help us get to the next level, the evolution, whatever it is for you personally. And then paired with that, this is an 8 year. So we don't got to get too deep into numerology because it is a lot to digest. It's a lot to understand. But it also is very simple as well for its basic information and its basic knowledge. So, 8 being the representation of infinity, karma, dharma, the infinite, the universe. It deals with a lot of things that deal with the cosmos, the as above, so below, so within, so without. So it's very big on source, very big on spirituality. It's very big on, as well, healing, spirituality, evolution, growing. Um, and 8 is also a very feminine number. So it deals a lot with the feminine energy. So these two things paired together means that we are doing a lot of heavy healing this year. We are going to see a lot of changes, a lot of major changes, a lot of changes in the way that we view ourselves, we view life, which is not a coincidence that paired with that, amongst many other planetary alignments, we also have Pluto moving out of a very long cycle, decades worth of cycle, and moving into Aquarius, which I do not find a coincidence because, granted, Pluto isn't staying there in Aquarius for the entire year. It's been moving around a little bit. But by the end of the year, that's when it truly stations in Aquarius for the next decade. And I think that is very important because it keeps giving us like previews and highlights of what our next decade of life is going to look like and what work we need to put in order to make that next decade a lot better than the last. And no shade to the last 10, 15 years, but for a lot of people, that has been like a very big cycle, a very big karmic lesson, a very big cycle, karmic loops, all types of things were going on in this past decade because of us being under so much rulership, dealing with karma, right? So I feel like the next 10 years, if you especially utilize this 8 year and this next 9 year to your best capability, to really heal, let go, release, stop getting in your own way, and just like really put that work in with yourself, then your next 10 to 15 years is actually going to be very magical. You're going to see a lot of big changes, a lot of big things that you've been working towards for a very long time actually make its way into your life. And with that being said, I really wanted to talk about this collective thing that we've all been going through as a spiritual being, as a human being, whatever you believe in. This 8 year has been very testing, as well as it's also been very magical. But we're gonna talk about the testy part for a little bit. This year, this year was very, 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 very big on breaking karmic cycles, like we said, right? So you may have lost a lot of friendships. This is why we've seen a lot of long-term marriages end. We've seen a lot of long-term friendships end, even career-wise, because again, Pluto is no longer in Capricorn, which has been there for the past decade or so. So our work values, a lot of our values are changing. So this is also why a lot of people are realizing like, ooh, this person that I've been with or this friendship that I had, this kind of ain't it. This ain't it. Like, this is not what I thought it was going to be. And in the most holistic way. Like a lot of it is not actually anything personal at all. A lot of it is just, again, people awakening to how they actually feel. People actually aware now of their healing journey, and for some people, what that process is going to look like because they're just starting it. And then for others, because they've been kind of on this healing journey for some time now, that now they're starting to realize, like, oh, maybe I've been also still living in certain karmic loops by dealing with certain situations with people and not speaking my truth, not owning up to certain things, like really seeing the layers now in the life that they've been living, even though they were healing, because healing is very layered. Healing is a ongoing experience. There's no shortcut. There's no shortcut. um and with that being said, this has been a very, very life changing year as we prepare for such a big change. And what better than to do it during an 8 year and a dragon year, which is why I also feel like it's so intense. Like, I feel like a lot of people looked at this year as being like a very magical and like all types of things were supposed to happen for you, which is not, that is not. Because I've seen a lot of people like actually seeing their life completely turn around. But for a lot of people, what this year really was the blueprint to what you need in order to create that magical life that you've been really craving and wanting. And I keep forgetting that I need to look at that camera. It's okay. Um, yeah, it's been a very life changing, a very, I gotta reconsider everything type of year. Because again, like I kind of spoke about a little bit in my last episode, where I feel like a lot of people didn't realize that they had to go through a false spiritual experience before they really get to the spiritual experience. And I feel like that's what this year has been revealing to a lot of people, where it's like, dang, I really thought I was doing the work. I really thought I was being my authentic self. I really thought, and I really was wrong. I was really wrong, right? I was really seeing all of this stuff from the wrong perspective, and not really emphasizing wrong at all, but more so just meaning like you you really started to realize like maybe there was way more to what you needed to understand. Maybe there was way more to who you are and what you've gone through that you may not have really been able to perceive properly for the past decade or so. And not your fault at all. It's a part of the process. It's a part of the layers unraveling and you really learning who you are. And how can you know who you are if you don't know who you are not? So this year has definitely been very big on all the walls around you breaking down. And I feel like, again, this is why this dragon year is so important, why this 8 year is so important, because it's really helping you to understand that it's okay to not be okay. My bad. It's okay not to be okay. It's okay to be wrong. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to not always know how you've been showing up. Like, it's a part of the process. But you also got to be accountable and be okay with what you lose in the process, because what you lose isn't really a loss. A lot of it are lessons. A lot of it are realizations. A lot of it were wake up calls, and emphasis on wake up calls. We we get so attached to so many different things, and we struggle a lot when they are removed from our lives. And that's because that was just the purpose that they were meant to serve. So that's why this dragon year has been so crucial with teaching that, like, what goes around comes around. So it's very important for you to realize, like, if you try to skim past your healing journey, if you try to skim past things that you know you did and you don't want to be accountable for it because victimization, people treated me this way, so I deserve to show up this way, like, or again, a lot of it just helpless, like you really did not know how you were showing up, like you really thought you were your true self but you really wasn't. That is again a part of the game. That's a part of the experience, and it's a part of this Dragon 8 year. How would you know if you don't know what you don't know, right? So be very open with what changes in your life this year. Be very on top of, so like making sure that you're really paying attention to all the changes, because it's going to really help you understand moving forward what you really needed to change about yourself, and what things that you didn't know how to unveil about yourself as well. So there's some very brutal truths that you guys are going to have to like really take accountability for this year. I feel like, we all want to be a good person, right? And a lot of us don't know how to process or deal with a lot of the trauma that we've gone through. So we build this fake persona of happiness, perfection, knowingness. Like we just want to know ourselves so bad because we feel like it'll help us alleviate the pain and the trauma that we've gone through, so that we can just be this beautiful person, like skip past the healing. Like I just want to be this great person because I don't want to hurt anymore. But 8 year, what goes around comes around. You can't run from your pain. You can't hide from your pain. You can't hide from how people treated you and how you treated them. Like this year is really going to show you where you really are just trying to escape, where you really are just trying to attach, where you're not trying to really get to know yourself, where you're not trying to heal, where you're not trying to embody and embrace. It's going to show you where you try to just put a bow on things and walk away. And again, this is why a lot of things will be lost this year, because Spirit is really trying to help you get to your Dharma. It's really trying to help you. But again, you got to be willing to be accountable for all the things that you were ignoring, all of the things about you that you were ignoring and wasn't trying to be a part of, the aspects of you that you didn't want to accept. You didn't want to accept it for whatever reason. Again, maybe it felt too hard, maybe it felt too difficult, maybe it felt too painful, and that's okay. But you can't run from it. You can't run from yourself. So what this 8 Dragon year is mainly about is the returning to the self, the coming into the authenticity that you really truly are. So as we're closing it out, it's very important to really set in stone that this is the changes. These are the things that you are really ready to release. Some of y'all might have it all jam packed within the next 2 years, and very big emphasis on next 2 years because 2025 is a 9. 2025 is a 9. And as a life path 9, I'm going to let y'all know. Please take your healing journey seriously this year. Even if you end up only utilizing the next couple months to take it serious. And I say that because 9 energy is one of the most divine energies, but it is also one of those energies that deals with a lot of projection. It deals with a lot of closures and chapters closing. It deals a lot with a lot of change and evolution, which means a lot of change. It means a lot of surrendering. It means a lot of courageous activity that you need to embody. Like you would really need to surrender to your authentic self, or else as quick as you deny something is as quick as it's going to come back around in your face. Like, you got to get this together. You can't be out here acting like that. This ain't even you. Like life will show you and humble you real quick in this 9 energy. And this is why I feel like this 8 year has been the way that it has been, because it's really trying to show us how to take the baby steps into this next year. Because I really feel like, yeah, a lot of things are going to get better next year, but it's still going to be a lot of change, because again, 9 is about closing, ending. It's about walking into that new beginning, but you have to be willing to walk. You absolutely have to be willing to walk. You can't be waiting for everything to change for you. Like, this year has just been making that space, setting you up so that you know which direction to walk, but you have to be willing. You have to be willing to really go within yourself and really be honest, really do the hard part, the healing. And again, the healing never really ends. So this hard part is really just one aspect of what's going to start making your healing journey and process so much easier, because you have a big opportunity here to really get strong, to really get courageous, like we said. So this is why this year has just been kind of chaotic, but kind of like beautiful at the same time. Why the energy has been so thick, and why all these things from your past just keeps coming out of nowhere. Why you keep having like these flashbacks of all the past years and people and situations, and dang, I could have showed up better here. Or dang, I really didn't realize I was over here acting like this. Like, why I keep losing all these people, or why I keep putting myself in this position. Like, why can't I just get through this? Why can't I get through that? Like, it's been a lot of that. A lot of people lost in careers. A lot of people really not knowing what to do with themselves. And a lot of people just having this deep internal battle and this deep internal yearning for great change, and also great burden. Like I said, a lot of it is coming to the surface because we as a collective are at this point where we are ready to change our value system, become more tapped in with nature, more tapped in with ourselves, more spiritual, um, move away from lifestyles that are really hurting us and harming us, moving away from foods. Like, look at the food system right now. Like, y'all was talking a lot of smack about the vegans and the plant bases and the people trying to grow their own food, and look at how much recalls. Granted, I know a lot of fruits and vegetables got recalled too, but we got to talk about where that food is coming from. They're still coming from the big pharmas. They're coming from the places where it's contributing to a lot of the reasons why a lot of people moved away from those lifestyles. There's a lot of change happening very rapidly. And so I really want y'all to stop putting so much emphasis on your external world. Stop putting so much emphasis on all the people that you want to keep in your life. Stop putting an emphasis on how fixated you want things to be in your life, or how you want everything to be specifically one way. You're being brought back to yourself. You're being brought back to true spirituality. You're being brought back to a true connection with God, and a true connection with your ancestors, and a true connection with the land. Big emphasis on connection with the land. Like, y'all need to be outside. Y'all need to be doing research and figuring out what all these beautiful places and spaces exist around you. You need to figure out like where your ancestors, what happened on this land. You need to start asking questions to your elders and really trying to figure out a lot about where you are and what you're doing. It's time to really get serious with yourself, and also like be a lot more softer with yourself as well, because a lot of why y'all feel like y'all in such a chaotic space where things just feel so out of bound, like y'all are being too hard on yourselves, y'all setting too much expectations, y'all are too deep in the sauce and not deep enough into yourselves. So let's finish this dragon year out strong. Let's really prepare ourselves for the closure of this 2025, this 9 year that we are stepping into. Let's really learn to love ourselves. Let's really learn what unconditional love really looks like. Let's really learn to unpack the dark sides of ourselves. Let's really take what we all are talking about, shadow work and inner child trauma. Let's really take that deeper and stop sugarcoating who you are to yourself and others. Stop sugarcoating how you feel. Like, you need to really learn how to understand what you feel. You need to understand how to release all these barriers and walls that you've placed around your emotions and your heart. Because that's also what dragon energy is very big on too. Heart space. I know they seem like, oh, fire, dragons, chaos, transitioning, I don't want to use that word. A lot of transition comes with the idea of dragons, but dragons are very big on crown chakra and heart chakra energy. So, with that being said, this is a beautiful time to really, again, figure out a spiritual practice for yourself. Figure out what you resonate with. Figure out what you need to tap in with in order to rebuild your relationship with yourself, to relearn who you are. Like, I really need y'all to sit down and ask yourselves 20,000 questions. Ask yourself everything that you could possibly think of and get to know yourself. You need to unlock, you need to unravel, you need to take a chance on really getting to know yourself and really getting to understand what the purpose is of you being here. You need to take information and knowledge more seriously. You need to really learn more, read more, sit in nature and talk to nature more. You need to have actual conversations with your body, with your heart, with your spirit. Really give yourself the space to grow within that field, because things are speeding up. Spirituality is speeding up, as y'all see. Everything everywhere. I've been seeing these commercials. These commercials been even trying to put in angel numbers and psychics and mediums and auras and mysticism into like Geico commercials and like insurance. Like, what are we talking about? Because if we was really talking about it, y'all wouldn't be charging us money because y'all was tapping in. But y'all, I know y'all see it everywhere. Like, everything's been everywhere. Everybody's been talking about it because we are moving into that space. We're moving into that understanding. So please open up. That's really all I can keep saying. Please open up to rediscovering who you are, to allowing yourself to unfold. You are a beautiful being, and you deserve to get to know yourself more. You deserve to understand who you really are deep down inside. You deserve to really start creating a world and a realm of peace and understanding. But that has to happen inside of you, right? And you cannot create peace when you do not know what ended the peace, when you don't know what happened. You cannot create it because you're always going to get triggered and not know why you're triggered. So that's also what this 8 year is trying to teach us. Like, what areas in your life have you really given your power away? What areas in your life are you looking to be saved? What areas in your life are you over trying with people and putting yourself in compromising situations? What areas of your life are you not letting love in? What areas of your life are you not experiencing or tapping in with innocence? How can you change your perspective so that you can start to take you and life more seriously, and not from a like, you know, OCD type of way, like more in a purpose driven I'm really in this type of way, but not in a this is all or nothing. Like, no. not like that, but how can you really just start to wake up to what this existence is and start to really embrace and embody who you are and how you correlate and how you coexist with this experience. This year is really big on seeing life from a different perspective. So that's what a lot of these lessons are about. This is why, like, a lot of, again, like, very deep lessons from your past, like childhood, teenage years, are coming back up and around because we are all meant to really move into a space of freedom. Like, that's what Aquarius also represents. Aquarius is also for and represents freedom. So let this 8 and 9 year, this dragon year, really teach you all the ways that you are not allowing yourself to be free mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically. And I'm not talking about sexually because we're already too deep into that realm of like over sexualizing and stuff like that. Even though we're moving out of that energy, we're moving more again into like a very spiritual space where people are starting to realize that their bodies are sacred, that energy exchange is a real thing, that attachments are a real thing, and we can't keep getting ourselves so involved with everyone and everything and having more boundaries for ourselves. So this is again like why a lot of these lessons keep coming up, because we are being shown the ways that we overindulge in toxicity, where we overindulge in suppression and attachment, and where we've lost our value system into things that really don't matter and things that actually violate our energy, violate our spirits, our emotions, and what is going to take in order for you to rebuild that reality for yourself. So I think it's very important that you circle back on all the things that you've been going through this year. You know, as we're moving out of summer, we're moving back into winter energy, where it's like this is where things rebirth. So it's like, let yourself really analyze and put the work in. You don't got to be depressed. You don't got to be misplaced and disassociated in the world. All you need to do is like really take time to like come back to you. And I feel like this is what this 8 years is about, circling back, like as above, so below, so within, so without. How can you get back to you? How can you remember who you are and come back to who you are and really allow yourself true freedom? How can you truly realize that you are the universe are you, and there's a reason in everything, there's a purpose in everything, and the more you take the time to honor that and honor who you are, the more you're going to really take your power back, and the more you're really going to start to create and experience a very magical life. Like, I feel like so many people think that the world is going to crap, but it's really not. Like, this is just the hardship of transformation as we come into like the bigger beautiful things of life, because there's nothing else but up from here. Like, I hope y'all know that. Like, all the Aquarius positions, all of the healings, and just the ascension of this planet, we ain't going backwards. Like, what y'all, I don't know what y'all on with that. The chaos is just chaos for the moment, as it's all just reflections of what we need to work through, what we need to again be accountable for, and see what we're creating within ourselves. This is for us to become accountable. This is not the true reality. This is just what healing looks like. This is what projection looks like. This is what running away from our problems look like. And the more we individually take that power back and decide to figure it all out and to put that work in, the more things are going to continue to grow, flourish, and get better. So, yeah, I hope that y'all really take this one in, because You have so much potential. You have so much potential to really turn your life around. You have so much potential to really understand your purpose and why you're here. And you have a lot of potential to stop also living in potential and make the things happen, to really step into the things and become your authentic self. Source. You are source. So let yourself be source. You are unconditional love. So let yourself be unconditional love. Yes, trauma happens. Yes, hardship happens. Yes, bad things happen. Yes, yes, yes. But I need you to start saying yes to yourself. This is your time to shine. This is your time to really go through the mud, really realize the ways that you've been projecting onto the entire world and everyone around you, and to realize that healing actually is the greatest thing that you can do for yourself. Taking yourself more seriously is the greatest thing that you can do for yourself. Being you, first of all, is the greatest thing that you can ever do for yourself. So let it happen. Let it play out. Let the things play out. Let life just be life. And learn from everything. Please just again like really sit down and analyze everything and take your time through it. Don't rush it. Don't feel like you got to change overnight or you got to fix everything overnight or that you're supposed to get it all done by the end of this year or even next year. Like your journey is your journey. Like some of y'all might just be heading into your Saturn return, which that's a whole nother life. Some of y'all might be past your Saturn return and still dealing with a lot of things because you didn't know how to deal with your karmic energy and your karmic lessons. So everybody's in their own space. They're in their own part of this grand divine plan. So you just see where you fit into all of it and you take your time. You realize that there's no reason to give up. There's no reason to feel defeated. There's no reason to feel like the world is over and this is the worst of the worst and this is all it's ever going to be. Like, release all of these programmings. Release the version of yourself that you've been living out of for so long that looks at the world in the most destructive way. You know, recognize the version of you who's been living out of all of this lack and insecurity and scarcity and really make that decision now that you want to heal that. You want to love that version of yourself. You want to love the world because you realize that none of it is really set in stone. None of it is permanent. None of it is even really what it looks like. And everything is always possible to change. Like everything can always change because that's the only thing that is constant in this reality is change. So the only time change doesn't happen is when you fixate so deeply on the things that's happening that you don't allow the new things to come in. You don't allow the things to change because you keep putting yourself back in the same place. Like the world keeps trying to put you across the street, but you keep crossing back and then talk about, oh, the world ain't changing, the world ain't nothing, people ain't nothing. Like this is all chaos. Like I don't see a future in this. I just want to go live in the middle of nothing. Yeah, because why you keep crossing back across the street? The universe trying to take you over there, you keep trying to come back over here, like, and they're mad at everything and all things because nothing is changing. So please take the time to recognize all the versions of you, all the aspects of you that's been doing that and living that way. Sit in meditations, call on every version of you from spirit baby to whatever age that you are now. Call on every single version, every year of you. Give them all a hug. Talk to them. Spread light and love back onto them. Hold them. Truly hug them and hold them. And apologize for taking on things from the wrong perspective. You know, have these conversations with them to make peace with how your reality has played out. You know, everything wasn't everybody else's fault. Everybody else is struggling too. Everybody else is going through their own trauma. You don't know what they went through or what their families went through, and so on and so forth, that even led them to treat you how they're treating you. because you're not even seeing the ways that you're treating you and how you're showing up for yourself. So take all that power back and stop placing so much emphasis on everything else and everyone else. Like, this year is really about you realizing that the only person driving the boat, the only person that's driving the car is you, and you got to take all that responsibility back. As many ways as you can blame everything else and something else or somebody else, it's always going to circle back to you. And again, that's what this 8 years really showing us. Doesn't matter what excuses you tell yourself to validate everything coming from the external reality, it all is always coming from you. So you have to really sit with that and make peace with that and have more gratitude for it, because the more that you do, the more you can actually break past it and make peace with it and heal it, so that you can move into that next layer of reality that you've been wanting to experience for so long, for lifetimes, even for some of you. And let this dragon year, let this 8 year really close off with like you having an open heart, regardless of how much more healing you'll have to do, regardless of how much change you still got to go through, regardless of how much money is in your account, regardless of if you're homeless or in a home or whatever troubles that you have. Just know that each day that you put the work in, even each day that you rest and let yourself rest, like regardless of what your day to day looks like, that just the fact that you're making an effort towards all of this, the only result that you can get out of it is the literal life of freedom, of expansion, of unlimited abundance that you are designed to have and experience, because it is already you and it's already yours. All of that becomes accessible to you at that point. So, yeah, I think I'm going to end the video here. Um, Definitely tap into my website, donations if y'all like. Feel free to ask questions. Like I said, drop anything in the comments or message me any topics that y'all would love to talk about. But yeah, just know that this is a year of great change, and be open to more miracles. Be open to the miracles that are waiting on the other side of fear, that are waiting on the other side of love, and that are waiting on the other side of you getting out of your own way. Period. All right. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. And I'm going to see y'all in the next one. Thank y'all for tuning in. Wholeness.